that tooth line by seeing how straight it is. You also want to be able to, invariably, you're going to encounter bows and kinks. You want to remember where you see those. Like with this one, I see that there is a kink right here. This is the concave side of the kink, and that's the convex side of the kink. So I want everybody to get a chance to do that. Just kind of circle around the floor and look at your saw, hold it, let it find plumb, and memorize the sight picture. Yeah, day one of our, check this out, cleaning saws. It's our saw sharpening seminar here for July. And we're going from the 14th through the 18th. And we got a 4-man class this month. And everybody's on it. We've got saw cleaning going on in the morning. We've got retoothing and getting into a desired tooth line. We're about to follow up with set. And it's a great start to a wonderful day here in Superior, Wisconsin. Day one, afternoon of our July Saw Sharpening Seminar. Everybody's getting used to using a Foley 281 trip hammer set and the distant bar hammer set. After our class on Sawtooth geometry, jointing, order of operations, and by the end of the day, we're going to get into how to hold the file and brush stroking. You are a go at this station. All right, well done. Most critical task we conclude in the afternoon of day one is what I call dry fire. This is where the student learns how to look at the file in relation to the tooth line and how to skip the file to the tooth line without changing the rake or bevel angles as they land the file into the next gullet. I've also found that it's very useful for one student to coach the other and then switch off to identify a consistent uniformity of training without developing bad habits. This process pays off huge dividends before we implement the actual sharpening process. So here we got Mark. We're about to hammersmith this plate straight. We're in the hammersmithing part of this class. And Jim, do you have anything smart alecky you want to add to this? No? No? Nothing?
Off camera, probably.
Off camera? Sure. Well, come on, man. All right. So anyway, the idea is to get a
well, this is
precise
just like grade
line.
school doing a dot-to-dot, picture.
Like grade school, right?
Like grade school, dot-to-dot.
And you're in Navy. And you're used to crayons and marines and stuff. Okay, all right. All right. All right. So we're going to connect the dots for starters. And now we're going to start hammersmithing this plate. All right, so applying the coarse, medium, fine approach to hammersmithing, we're going to take this not to the anvil first, but to your jointed flat bench. And we're going to hit it on the more yielding surface of this really, I mean, this is white oak. It's old growth white oak. It's really hard, but it's still more yielding than the anvil. So this is our coarse approach. We're going to bed the plate down solidly, and we're not going to kill it when we hit it. About that intensity, you'll notice how my fingers are kind of spread out on the line, adjacent to that line that we drew. I think before I hit it anymore here on the bench, I'm going to take it to the anvil. This is a Fisher anvil. Gosh, what year was it made? 1908. Cool old antique. I love these things. So again, I'm going to start here on the center line. And I'm not going to kill it because I still want to creep up on it. And just stay on that line. And assess. Now we're getting somewhere. Well, no, you're not. If you want this to take, and you want the saw to have a memory of being straight. And the only way you're going to get that is if you compress the grain on both sides. You have to squish the grain for the saw to develop a new memory that wants to keep it straight. Otherwise, if you were to take it out and saw with it now, it's going to lose its memory and it's going to go back to where it was, bowed. So right now what we're doing is we're compressing the grain. Lighter and tighter. Starting here with the middle line. And I make the strikes really tight because I want it to hit. I mean, I'm not a CNC, I'm not a robot. I want to make double damn sure I hit at least one of those strikes from the opposite side, the original side that I already established. So I'm narrowing up the shot group, if you will. I'm going to chase that convex side, but you can see we've already squished the metal. Right, so now we can go back to the convex side, comfortable in the knowledge that it's going to take. But one of the points I want to impress upon you is you got to be in a constant state of assessment. You don't want to do something just because it's the next step of doing it. You got to know how you're going to address the situation at hand by assessing the very last thing you did. So we created this big even bow from stem to stern. So then we took it to the bench. We knocked down the convex side on the bench. Took us a while on both the midline and the line above the teeth. Then we took it to the anvil, hit both sides to compress the grain, alternated back and forth as much time as it took to make it straighten out. So now, I'd say we're at about the 95th percentile of being straight. It looks like we still have a little bit of a kink, if you will, right about here. A little bit of a problem area, so I'm going to hit that one. More time on this one than, frankly, many of my saws, but I think what you have is a saw that the chemical balance in that steel, that alloy, was particularly good when they poured it that day back in the 1800s.
Yeah.
All right. So there you go. You can hit cut. All right, here we are on day 2, and we're already into hammersmithing. Mr. Mark here is so high speed, he is beginning to sharpen his 7 PPI saw that he brought. Well, we've got Richard here about to hammersmith his saw straight. He's cleaning it up right now here at the cleaning station. What have you got going on here, James?
Checking out the measurements on the plate for this 5.5.
There you go. He's assessing his plate, getting the gauge figured out, and developing a plan for making it straight and true. You got a question here, Jim?
I'm about ready. I should do it. We're there.
What's your takeaway?
It's straight.
It's straight. Awesome. Now we can take it to the anvil and make it stay that way by compressing the grain.
Yep.
All right. Well, here we are on day 3 of our July Saw Sharpening Seminar, and we've got some exciting developments here. People are completing. What'd you say back there?
Roof leak.
Roof leak. Oh yeah, it rained like hell last night. But everybody has now cut 9 PPI into their plates, and they are upping the difficulty of sharpening. Starting off with brush strokes so that we can raise a gleam, a consistent gleam from gullet to tip that you see here, trying to avoid rolling the file counterclockwise or clockwise. That's the learning curve right now that the students are figuring out as they gain more confidence in sharpening their own saw and sharpening it right, having a consistent brush stroke with every file placement. All right, we got some more setting and assessing. You can see James here with his hand saw that he's miking the result of his set to hit a specific objective. Believe it or not, with this antique distance star, in accordance with the table of set strength tolerances I identify on the saw filer's reference chart. Anyway, we're having a good day. It's a rainy day, but everybody's actively engaged and doing a pretty good job, actually. Good morning. We are on day 4 of our 5-day saw sharpening seminar, and today what we're doing is we are making our bad axe saws. Right now, Mark is achieving equidistant saw plate depth after having just mounted the saw back onto his plate. Well, what we're addressing here, Mark, is the hang of the handle. And handle hang is important in saw design. And that's why, you know, when I designed this saw with bad axe, when I owned a bad axe, I wanted to make, you know, I didn't want to invent anything new. You can't really improve upon the design the way Henry Diston did it back in the day. So let's understand the theory behind the hang of the handle and how that translates into the quality of your cut. You may have noticed, for instance, some dovetail saws have their hang so cocked up like this, you almost have to break your wrist to get it to push through. And it's an inelegant cut, it catches, right?
Right.
So the more you lower the hang of your handle, all right, the more you get behind the cut and the easier your saw cuts. And of course, sawtooth geometry with how you have the rake configured is also a factor. But the hang of the end, the way the old guys address the hang is that, you see how the pistol grip is oriented in this fashion? You just find that orientation. I know it's slightly radiused on the inside, but you find that orientation, and you can lay a longer stick. We're just using tooth guards here. You don't have to have one, but the tooth guard makes it more obvious. Now, if you get another stick and you lay it perpendicular to the hang of your handle, you'll see that it gets pretty close to the midsection of your tooth line. All right, it doesn't have to be spot on it, but you want to be somewhere fairly close to the midsection of that tooth line. All right, and this is a good method of seeing where the hang. We are floating the mortise to get this handle to fit right. Tilt your elbow. There you go. Get in there, and also bend your knees. Get down there and eyeball it from where the action is. There you go. That's where we're using these fabulous Lee Nielsen floats. All right, now get the float that cuts on the pole stroke and do the same thing.
You just did it.
Oh, you just did that? Okay, yeah. Hit the other side now. Tilt your elbow.
You're on.
So sharpening your saw float when you're working on cleaning up the mortises of your handle, it's just the same as sharpening a saw. You just find the gullet with an appropriately sized file. I'm using a 6-inch double extra slim here on this Lee Nielsen float. Secure it in a vise and assess in between each stroke like you would sharpening a saw, and sharpen those edges, those teeth, as if you were sharpening a particularly thick saw plate. All right, that's how it's done. And now what we're doing is we're assessing how straight the tooth line is based on the plate and back assembly matching up. There's usually some sort of irregularity going on that we gotta true out. Up the 5 1/16, about halfway up the gullet here, and 5 and you're practically there. We're equidistant now, so all you're gonna do is retension this by giving a slight tap to where you can feel the underside of your saw back and the plate at the same time. Give it a tap here. Give it a tap here. Feel it shift in both instances, and you will be freshly retensioned. And then we're going to see how she cuts. If you don't feel it shift, that's okay. There's no need, it's already made it. So now you can move around here to the toe, tap it, you should feel just an ever so slight shift.
Yeah.
All right, now sight down the tooth line and see if it's straight.
Looks good to me.
All right, and indeed we are. I want to point out here, particularly with a brand new saw, a lot of people don't know this. Even saw makers don't know this, but one of the things I passed on to the bad axe employees when I trained them is that very first tooth is pretty important, believe it or not. Have you ever made a cut and you pulled the saw back deep into the cut and you went forward and it just stuck in the middle of your dado that you're cutting through, right? That's a pretty common occurrence. The reason that's happening is because that lead tooth, because it's a brand new saw plate, the rake angle on that lead tooth is straight up and down, right? If you take the time to back off the rake angle of that very first tooth, back off the rake angle to where now, instead of being straight up and down, we relaxed the approach by about 10 degrees. That'll save you a lifetime of annoyance with that saw because you've taken 5 seconds to back off the rake angle on that lead tooth. That's what's going on there. Here we are in the afternoon of day 4, and we are in the process of making our bad axe saws, dotting the teeth, working on what remains of our hand and panel saws. And you know what? The students are really dialed in at this point. They're almost on autopilot. They know what to do. They know what proper sawtooth symmetry looks like. And it's always a joy to watch them satisfactorily sharpen their own saws at this point. Gratifying to me as their instructor. It's also cool watching them use the bad axe hammer saw set that will get you everywhere on a properly set tooth. So, happy Thursday. here we are. You guys are something, all right. Here's the class. Oh my God, these 4 dudes just totally rocked it. All right, check this out. We've got every saw you see here on this bench. These guys brought, and they made them cut. They went from dull pieces of caca to saws that cut. They did really well. And then they made their own bad axe saws. Now they had a little more assistance from me on that because I want to make sure they left with the bad axe standard of sharpening. But look at what they did. Every one of them. They brought these saws. It's a particularly strong class. You know what? And it's not rocket science, but they pulled it off. And I'm so proud of them for doing it. So if you're ever wondering, oh, how are you ever going to learn how to sharpen a saw inside of just a week? Well, these guys did it. All right. We did. It probably didn't hurt that their instructor wasn't shitty. All right. Anyway, well done, guys. I'd say give yourself a pat on the back, but you're going to lacerate yourself if you do. All right. Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for watching my July 2025 seminar video where my students covered the entire saw sharpening order of operations and sharpened the saws they brought under their own hand. Even though I sold Bad Axe Toolworks to my employees in 2022 and entered semi-retirement, it's hard to keep still for very long. Now I pass on the knowledge of saw sharpening to others through videos on my YouTube channel, free resources on my website, and I continue to offer quarterly in-house saw sharpening seminars in my Superior, Wisconsin workshop, co-located next to Bad Axe. Recently, Popular Woodworking produced a saw sharpening online learning video that you may enroll in, and I still offer saw sharpening and restoration services with rapid turnaround, generally within the same week of receipt. After all, as an older dad, I still have kids to put through school. But the best part about this post-military career in the hand tool world is the people you meet and work with. The one thing that binds us all, regardless of our backgrounds, is an unyielding commitment to excellence. And it is in that vein that I hope to work with you as you seek to sharpen your own dang saw and make it saw sharp. Cheers! This has been Mark Harrell, founder-owner of Bad Axe Toolworks and owner of SawSharp.